I eat my wings naked, so I don't really know too much about the blue cheese.
The wings. The wings are naked. Nothing on the wings.
Just the wings.
I didn't even think of that.
Oh yes, not me. Like I'm fully clothed. I love this.
Welcome into the Weekly Peel Podcast. I'm John.
I'm Peter.
And I
have-
am Malik.
Yes, I was gonna introduce you, dude, but that works out.
Here we go.
You're ready,
The weekly-
Malik.
The Weekly Peel. Peter, was that you playing bass?
It was all John actually. I
Yes,
had nothing
yeah.
to do with it.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm kind
wish.
of a musical artist, I guess. No, by no means.
You refused to
Yes.
include me on the process. The
It's
musical
true.
process.
I mean, you weren't even a part of the podcast then, but I should have included you.
That's
I should have
actually
had the
true.
foreknowledge to have
I
you do
know.
that.
I know.
Peter, do you still play bass?
We were actually just talking about this, Malik.
Good Friday.
I have not played bass in like years and years, and we were trying to get it to where I could play this Good Friday, but we didn't. The problem is always that like I never have enough people on my media team to like cover me so that I can do that. So it is
The harvest is plentiful.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
It has
workers
escaped
are
us
few.
again.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
we have
I'm-
someone very special on with us today. His name is
Yes.
Malik Abney.
As
He's,
you heard.
one of my good friends, one of my co-workers and co-laborers
Amen.
in
Yes.
the gospel.
Yes, Lord.
He
Kindred
is the
spirits.
worship pastor at my church that I work at as well. And we're happy to have you on today, Malik.
I am honored. I will say one of our other coworkers is a little offended that I got asked first. But
Wow.
I'll,
His time will come.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
It was your senior pastor, right?
Yeah,
No.
Pastor Greg. He was very
No.
salty.
And with that kind of attitude, he's never going to get on. So,
Yes.
yes, it's
Wow.
good.
Yeah. So wait, no question. I gotta ask you guys because I know the answer to this. But how? Because we're on Zoom as we're recording this. But how close are you, you guys physically right now?
More than 6 feet. We are
And
more.
less than 20.
Yeah, we're social distance times 2.5. I think.
We're
Wow.
one bathroom apart, to be exact.
Yep. It's like a
Cord
little
stretched.
what do they call it? A Jack and Jill suite in college.
Oh, I like that.
Oh.
Yeah, like we share a bathroom.
Yep. So
That's
if I
amazing.
take off my headphones, I could probably hear him in the other room. But
Yep.
But we won't do that today.
that's right. That's right. So if you notice behind me, I have there's some very exciting stuff going on.
I love it.
If you're watching on YouTube,
Yeah, Peter,
I
who are
have-
you? You're with Jesus, right?
I'm here with Jesus today,
And he's
a
just
man,
he's cleaning a lightning bolt.
in this mural on the wall, and we're just going with it today.
How
John,
safe? How safe do you feel?
So safe, dude. I feel the peace in this room.
Yeah. Look his wrath will come over someone if they try you.
I know.
There you go.
And Malik's got the nice geometric shapes there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
So
A
soothing.
squared plus B
He's
squared equals C squared.
You're protected by math.
Yep.
It's not as good
That's
as
right.
Jesus, but it'll do.
There we go.
Albert will
So-
protect me.
So I have a little something I'd like to just read about our guest, kind of get everybody introduced. A little bit of a kind of a brag sheet, just talking about some of the life accomplishments
Yeah,
here.
you
so-
literally have in our notes brag sheet, and I was like, I have no idea what that means, but I'm excited to hear
I'm
it.
just a little.
right.
I'm just a little cheese ball. Like that's all.
Especially because his first name is not Malik. It's, may I say
You're
it?
lying to
Am I-
us?
Tell the
Monterey.
tell the world.
Monterey.
This will come.
Monterey.
This will come back later in the podcast. My
Just
name
like
is
the
Monterey.
cheese.
Ooh.
Monterey
Really?
Jack cheese. Like, just like the cheese.
I just realized that. I didn't even
Wow.
get the connection.
Yep.
Is that why you like cheese? We're gonna talk about cheese in this podcast, but is that why it's a part of you? You know?
I mean, I don't want to ruin the brag sheet, but when it comes to cheese, I kind of didn't like it as a kid. I did hamburgers, not cheeseburgers. But as time progressed and I grew older and I became more mature, I started eating cheeses more and more. Now I'm somewhat of a connoisseur.
Now you're a whole
Wow.
man with that cheese.
Yeah, I'm stronger and wiser.
So the brag sheet, kicking off with a very interesting first one. I did not know this, but competed and won several male beauty pageants as a child.
Wait,
It's
really?
something I heard
Is this
from
real?
from somebody else. I did not
Yeah.
know.
So I won. Well, I wouldn't say a child. Well, I did a couple of little things locally as a child. Only thing I won was a look-alike contest with my mom. But when it when it comes to the pageants, I did our local. I went to a public school in North Carolina, and we do this thing called Mr. Triton. The school was called Triton High School, so we do Mr. Triton as a fundraiser, I guess, for special needs. Big brother, big sister. So, and like those are my people, special needs people. I love them the most. So I did the competition for them, and I won. It was like a 4-segment thing, like dress, formal wear, question and answer, talent,
Swimsuit.
and swimsuit.
I was gonna say that.
Swimsuit. It was in there. It was in there.
Was it really?
It was. But
How objectifying.
that was like 18-year-old Malik, who was a wrestler and chiseled. You wouldn't want to see that anymore. But anyways, I won that, and then there was some sort of like I don't know if it's like an agent or a scout in the congregation. How church
In the this is a church?
How churchy am I? Like in the audience, I guess. So they asked me to do one called Mr. Cape Fear, which was like a river, and then it just slowly, like after I won that one, it started to get bigger and bigger, and then I just bowed out to go to college.
Wow.
Wow. I didn't know that this world existed. I
think
I've never heard of this.
It
at
might
all.
just be like a Southern thing, like
it's just for North Carolina.
the pageants. Like I've never heard
male
of
beauty pageants. At that.
I'd love. Does Florida have one? I feel like that could get really, really weird
Yeah,
with all the people in
true.
Florida.
I
you know,
I wouldn't. They have beaches where I wouldn't want to see their swimsuits. So yeah, they should stay away from those.
On top of that, and kind of in the same vein, was prom king at of high school.
That happened.
Yeah.
Well, all this to say, popularity doesn't mean much, but I did get the vote. I got the vote.
There you go. Down in Dunn, North Carolina, hometown.
Yep, hometown proud.
Followed up by being a worship leader on SEU worship for 3 years.
Oh, okay, all right.
Pretty exciting.
The Lakeland
Exciting
family.
stuff.
You know, every time I've went to go see SCU, they always cancel the events that they're going to be at. So what's the deal? What's
I
up
don't.
with SCU, man?
They've been slacking. A lot of the world's been slacking ever since COVID. So they've canceled a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I don't know.
I was saying you have no knowledge.
They
of what's
don't
going on
love.
anymore.
They don't love the Mid Atlantic, I guess. They did go to. They were in Williamsburg, Virginia, right before COVID. But if I were still in college, John, I would have made sure we brought a team.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
There we
that.
go.
That makes me feel good.
But I'm not in
Wow.
college anymore. So if you want our local worship team at the Bridge Community Church,
We're on tour now.
Right.
That's not even halfway through the list.
Okay.
Graduated from Southeastern University in 2018.
We won't hold that against you. Don't worry.
No,
I'm just
not
kidding.
here on
That's
on
funny.
Appeal. First in your family to graduate college. Did I hear that right?
I mean, bachelor's level. There's a couple of associates, but
Okay.
I was the first one to graduate from college with a 4-year degree, and I'm the first one outside of like military context to leave North Carolina.
Nice.
Wow.
I just up and flew to Florida, and that was taboo for the family.
Yeah.
Which
now you're in Virginia. You're really just seeing the world. You know,
Seeing
Made
the
it big
world.
time.
And Florida was like the closest place. Like I applied to school in Minnesota, and I applied to school in Sydney, Australia.
Oh, wow.
But I went to Florida.
Whoa.
Yep.
That would have been wild.
Yeah,
Back with an accent.
I would have been an Aussie.
The worship pastor and fine arts pastor at the Bridge Community Church in Warrenton, Virginia, since 2019. So you're over 3 years now.
Yep.
And in that time, he has dropped 6 original songs on Spotify, with his most recent EP, The King and I, debuting last Friday.
Yeah.
It was everything I'd hoped for. It was a good time.
So,
The King
Yeah,
and
I said this earlier, and I was gonna say for the podcast, but I wanted to tell you because it's very genuine. Like it's really good. Like I really enjoyed it. Like Peter was like, "Hey, check this out," it's just dropped, and I was like, "Oh, I'll check it out," and I was like, "These are actually really awesome songs."
Wait a minute. I got that the first two singles. I got like those pity listens. Like my friends, they were supporting me because they were my friends, and I think.
Yeah. I wonder what that's like. I mean, the podcast doesn't get sympathy listens or pity
Not
listens.
at all.
Yeah.
No. Original, genuine.
But now they're like, oh wait, I would actually listen to this. So I was like, yeah,
Yes.
I'm breaking through. Like you're not listening just because you like me as a person. Like I think you're starting to like it.
I'm gonna be honest. I was ready to hype it up. No matter what came. But I was hype about these songs when they dropped.
He said, I actually believe in these. I back these a little bit. Yeah, it was. I guess we can talk about it whenever you want to, but
Yeah, let's do it.
it kind of surprised me, like how effortlessly it happened. Like I've been, like he said, I was a fine arts pastor. I started writing songs because of fine arts. Like I did like the songwriting category just to give it a go. I was one of those people that wanted to. First of all, if you don't know what fine arts is,
I was just gonna explain it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
go for it.
It's like it's basically, without like undermining it, it's kind of like a Christian talent show, where you get evaluated on different creative outlets. So I did songwriting, and I started to grow in it. And years later, I'm recording these songs, so that's fun.
That's great.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I only recorded it because it was requested. Like I've written many songs, but they never make it past my living room. But my brother requested that I share it with friends, and now it's doing what it's doing.
There you go.
Yep.
How many streams since it first dropped?
Let's
At
see.
this point, a week later.
I don't.
Not even 5 days.
I don't hardly check any platform but Spotify. I check
It's probably
Apple
healthy.
Music. I check Apple Music a little bit. I don't check my SoundCloud. Just kidding.
Yeah, this is exclusively on SoundCloud. It's the hottest new app if you haven't heard about it.
It's we're at 2308 for Spotify.
Ooh.
That's
and
hype.
We're a little less than a week.
And I know which song is doing the best. Which, if you're listening, you'll get a little taste for
we'll
this
play
EP
it
at the end. But do you have a personal favorite or any that hold a special place in your heart?
I think it changes every day, but I'd say the one that like I'm gonna like absolutely be gung ho on as my favorite is "Pray." If you get a chance to listen to that one, I wrote this one. It was kind of a challenge as like a songwriter, like because I didn't write it from a personal place. I wrote it from someone else's personal place. Our youth pastor, my best friend Austin Hogan, his brother-in-law was going through cancer, and his sister was very sick all of 2021. And in the midst of that, he was, I wouldn't say complaining, I'd say lamenting about the fact that he's never seen a miracle personally. So, like one night when he was up all night and couldn't sleep, he was venting to me about it, and I was like, I'm going to write a song about this. So that's how that song was birthed. So sentimentally, that one's my favorite.
Yeah.
But I do favor "Cast My Cares." Like that one's. I think that one's a good song.
I would say that one. That was the one I like. I liked them all, but I really like that one the most.
I'm gonna be one of those guys that are like, I literally can't decide which one.
Oh
is
my god,
my favorite. I'm gonna be that guy. It's true.
That's not true, Peter. No, I'm just kidding.
He's
You were
told
just
me.
saying how
You're
much
right.
you
I'm
hated
sorry.
the.
It's not today.
He's
It's not today.
told
It
me.
is.
Speaking of like shouting out Peter, he made all of the Spotify canvases. So if you are on Spotify and you see me dancing, Peter's the mind behind that, and every other canvas that I have on Spotify.
It was an adventure.
Wow.
I'm glad that it's out there for the world to see.
Yeah, this is Peter. This is your big break.
Yes.
I've been waiting for this, dude.
Hire Peter for all of your freelance needs.
Yes.
We're trying to get him to
on.
baby
Yeah.
step 7.
Honestly, hire Peter for anything. I mean, a driver, a nanny. Just hire Peter. He's looking for
I
work.
could be a driver. I could deal with that. But you mentioned baby steps, so that relates to your love for Dave Ramsey, and
I have a man crush on Dave Ramsey.
And he does get a mention, right?
Is he related to Gordon Ramsay? No, I'm just saying.
I mean, their aggression levels are the exact same.
Oh my gosh.
There is a Dave Ramsey lyric in Not Today. So Not Today, the song format is all of the verses are complaints, things that frustrate me, and all the choruses that follow are the joy of the Lord is my strength. The world didn't give me joy. They can't take it away. So every time I complain, the world's trying to steal my joy, but they won't be able to because the joy of the Lord is my strength. But in verse 2, I was talking about all the debt that I was in, and I had a credit card with a very high interest rate, and I shouted out Dave Ramsey because of the baby steps in Financial Peace University. I am getting out of that debt, and I did pay off that credit card in the song. So I'm pumped about that.
Come on. That's amazing. So yeah, listen to The King and I. Like we said, we'll have it at the end of the podcast. But it's a
do
great
yourself a
EP.
favor. It's great.
Absolutely. And so I will just talk for a second about how Malik came to be on the podcast today.
Yes.
I was randomly. Sometimes I feel like I bring up the podcast too much, or sometimes not at all to people. But
you guys are like in staff meeting, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I just wanted to bring up some of my podcast last week. We were talking about."
Just have a praise about the podcast, guys.
I walk past Peter doing the podcast every single week, and I almost interrupt every single week.
I feel like you hear the weirdest out of context things. Probably. I mean, even in context is a little weird, but
it's true. It's true.
Like I feel like I might have walked in the room a couple times during the podcast, and I just closed the door.
Should have brought you in. But anyways, so I was talking to Malik about it one day, and he just kind of says to me, like, you know what I've always wanted, like, a podcast to, what I've wanted to hear discussed is just the different types of cheeses. I think that would be, the different types of cheese, that would be such an interesting topic, and it needs to be discussed.
It's a diverse world.
So we said, hey, you sound like you're the man for the job. Let's get you on here.
Yeah, so where did this love for cheese? You kind of talked a little bit.
Yeah.
But like you just grew into it. That's it. It just
started with a name. I mean, you kind of was born with it.
Yeah, you were born obviously into the cheese.
I am a cheese
world.
I am a cheese. Not that anyone cares, but my grandpa and my grandpa and my dad, they're both Terry, and instead of me being Terry the Third, they called me Monterey, which is very closely related.
Wow.
Which is very closely related to Monterey, like in Mexico. But and that's a cheese. And before I tell you the hype of the cheese, how I got into cheeses, honestly, it was a missions trip, like in
it was the Lord.
Ecuador. It was the Lord. Like the queso, there was a queso debate, like because in Spanish the word cheese means queso.
It's queso.
Como se dice cheese, queso. But
mind blown.
But in America, queso is that like gooey stuff that you dip chips in. But
praise God.
So that opened up a can of worms because people in other countries opened up a can of cheese. People in other countries, they don't really like the American queso. So then I just start doing my studies.
What?
On like grated cheese, like whiz cheese from Philadelphia. Like
dude, have you ever had the whiz cheese on a cheesesteak?
Yeah. That's the only way.
Thank you. Finally, somebody gets it. It is so good.
Don't play yourself with that provolone. Like it's got to be the whiz.
Yep,
it's got to be the whiz.
Shout out to Tony Luke's.
Provolone.
Yeah,
Tony Luke's.
That's that. I think they started that, or at least they do that. That's like their big thing.
Yeah, I'm not too diverse in like the origin of cheesesteak. I didn't go to Liberty where Peter went, but my favorite cheesesteak is in Lynchburg. Taste of Philly.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I stay away from Lynchburg, so I have no idea.
That's funny.
I gotta go there now. Taste of Philly. Wow.
The next time you're in Lynchburg, go to Taste of Philly. It's near. I forget the name of the high school, but there's a high school near it. It's a good place.
Would you each say that you have a cheese that rises to the top of the list for you? Perhaps an underrated cheese.
So So this is the thing for me is I know Peter, you've been to Wegmans, but Malik, have you ever been to Wegmans?
Oh, I love Wegmans. It's
Their
not in the
cheese
budget,
section?
but it's good.
Yeah. Their cheese section is amazing. It's literally like, if you don't know what Wegmans is, it's this ginormous grocery store.
Yeah, it's a
And
castle.
it's like super fancy, and I mean, they have everything you can think of, and they have like a lot of they have like basically a restaurant in there and all kinds of stuff, and they have this huge cheese section with just dozens and dozens of different kinds of cheese.
It is beautiful to look at.
It is beautiful to look at. And like, I've tried so many cheeses. I'm so glad we're talking about cheese. I love cheese, but so just to say all that is I got to think about it.
Well, I've thought about it, and when it comes to like mainstream cheeses, I think the richness of I almost said a bad word. The richness of cheddar
There we
is
go.
unmatched. But underrated cheeses, my favorite one is Colby Jack. And
Dude,
and that
Colby Jack,
that might
so
not even be
good.
underrated. Like
it is.
like,
It is.
Me and our youth pastor Austin, we get into this all the time because he's a pepper jack guy. I'm a Colby Jack. If you don't know the origin of the Jack cheeses, the Monterey Colby is a type of cheese, and Monterey Jack, and you just put it together as Colby Jack, fresh out of the Midwest, Wisconsin area. A cow's beauty, the Colby Jack cheese. It's the best. If you want the best, just authentic taste of Colby Jack, make yourself a ham sandwich. I don't care what kind of bread you use. Colby Jack cheese, honey glazed hams, and a little bit of little honey mustard on there. You're good to go.
Honey mustard. Oh,
that is the sandwich.
My son loves cheese. We get these little just squares of cheese.
Yep.
He's 2, and we get him the Colby Jack. And I'm not gonna lie, I always take a tax out of it every time I give him some. I'm like, hold on, I gotta take a tax. I take a bite out of it. I'm like, there you go, you can have the rest because it's just so good.
No, he be taxing you, dude.
That's funny. That's funny.
Dude, that's a cow's beauty. I love that.
Oh my gosh,
it's good stuff.
What's the jury on blue cheese? I thought everybody was in agreement that it is fantastic, but I think it's underrated.
I don't really like when I think blue cheese, I think wings, and I don't
the dressing.
I eat my wings naked, so I don't really know too much about the blue cheese.
The wings. The wings are naked. Nothing on the wings.
Just the wings.
I didn't even think of that.
Oh yes, not me. Like I'm fully clothed. The wings, just the parm garlic wings.
That's
Yes,
amazing.
I am fully clothed in
There's
righteousness.
a few like that, like blue or what did you say, blue cheese?
Yeah,
cottage cheese. A few like that I just heard were.
Oh, dude, cottage cheese.
I heard from a young age that they were disgusting, so I just have always grown up with that.
that's just not a good.
And
thing.
I've never tried them.
What's that really notoriously stinky cheese that
Gorgonzola?
No. It's like
That's what I was thinking of, Peter.
No. It's something like every kid is really afraid of. It's like a big but I don't have to try. I don't know what it is, but Peter, I remember you had to taste it or do something, a powwow. You if you don't know what that is, basically just no.
That's not a cheese.
Those are beans.
I think it's Gorgonzola, isn't it?
No, dude, Gorgonzola is basically blue cheese, and it is delicious.
Oh, I don't know then.
No, it was something because I remember and I wish I could remember what it was. But I remember that we were at a camp out for basically Christian Boy Scouts called Royal Rangers, and they called this thing powwow, and you had to go up and eat something. I forgot. I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah.
But you were forced to, and you just held your nose, and you were it was terrible.
Do you remember what it
sure.
starts with?
I remember that.
I don't.
I think.
Was it cottage cheese? Maybe it was just cottage cheese.
So,
and we were just
I'm looking up the top 17 stinky cheeses, and these are all weird names.
We're gonna go down the list and figure this out right now. I have to say though, kind of a sleeper cheese, for me, is Gouda. I love me some
Gouda's
Gouda.
good. Gouda's good.
And nobody really talks about it, but
I feel like
that's
Gouda,
what we're here for.
I feel like a broke person wouldn't know what Gouda is. You've got to go to a nice place for some Gouda cheese.
Yeah.
It's a little bougie.
You don't get no Gouda at McDonald's.
But at Wendy's though they have
that's because it's Wendy's. You only go there if you have money. Let's just be honest.
It's high class.
Or
yeah,
you're
for
a
real.
college student.
This has nothing to do
$4.
with cheese, but dip the fries in the Frosty at Wendy's.
Amen. Amen.
Yes.
But Gouda has a very, very subtle taste, and that's what I kind of like about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But I'm fully on board with all the other aforementioned cheeses.
Now, one thing that I think is overrated is what do you guys think about white American?
It's kind of a disgrace. Like, I don't want to.
It is, right? Thank you.
This is our cheese. And I'm not like level 10 patriotic, but like if this is our cheese, it's got to be great.
I know.
If this is a cheese the nation has to get behind.
Yeah. This is our national cheese, guys. We can't dog it. Come on. The yellow's okay, but white American, I don't know. Like, as a white American, I don't like it.
Yeah. It does not represent the Caucasian race.
No. It's my wife. She loves it. She always gets that cheese. Like, she's always like, it's the best. Well, I mean, white American. You know, yeah. I mean, so and she always gets it, and I'm like, this is horrible. This is literally a disgrace. But wow, I
can't remember the last time I had it, so else I would give my opinion. But there was a time in my life where I got really excited about cheeses when I was around like 12, 13 years old, and every time my mom went to the grocery store, I would like try it. Like, I would be like, "Hey, can we get this cheese this time?" Because it was just it was no Walgreens, but they did have a little bit of a selection. So I started.
You mean Wegmans?
I didn't know what to do in that moment.
Walgreens?
Yeah, I was gonna say Walgreens has cheese. I was like, I'm scared. I don't know if I want some
Walgreens cheese.
When I went to 7-Eleven, I was like, can we get this different kind of cheese?
They just got the whiz cheese, but I got sharp cheddar, and then I got extra sharp cheddar, and then I got New York cheddar.
I don't think I've had New York cheddar.
Yeah, but I just remember at that time, just plain American kind of became a disgrace to me. Yeah. I was like, this is the lowbrow cheese.
Yeah. We got to find a new national cheese. That's really what we got to get on this.
I think cheddar should be it.
Cancel American cheese.
Yeah.
Is cheddar overhyped? We can move on after this.
No. I think cheddar is perfectly hyped.
Yeah, I think it lives up to the hype.
Well said.
It has credibility in the cheese world. So,
I'll tell you. You know what people group make a great cheese? The Swiss people. The Swiss cheese. I don't even know if it's actually.
I'll be honest. I don't like Swiss cheese. I never have.
Peter, you're fired. Get out.
So stunned.
His jaw dropped if you aren't watching this.
Terrible.
It has kind of a sour taste to me.
You have a sour demeanor.
I won't be annoyed if I ate Swiss cheese, but I've never been extremely pumped. It's a good cheese, but I never. It's in the middle for me. I'll eat it gladly, but it's whatever.
So well said.
Well, I have a question because I think, Peter, were you planning on moving on from this, or did you have more cheese?
I
could talk cheese for hours.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let me ask you one thing though. What are your top 3 cheeses?
Oh my god!
Well, this is the Malik.
Okay. And we have an exchange student from Italy, so I was heartbroken when I found this out. But because I'm a big lasagna guy, and in America we use ricotta cheese.
Yes,
he told me that's not a thing over there in Italy.
What?
So I was very hard, but I do love ricotta.
Made by Big Cheese.
It's the Big Cheese. So Colby Jack ricotta, and then for my best friend's sake, I'll say pepper jack. But that's kind of spicy.
That's good. I'm glad we got to the bottom of this.
Yes, I know. It's been keeping me up at night.
So the other amazing, wonderful topic that we wanted to get into today was kind of a recurring segment on here that we like to call the Cringe Files. Today, our Cringe Files are going over some cringy worship moments that we've had. All of us have led worship to some extent in our past,
or tried to,
or present, or tried to. I am not a worship pastor. I played bass guitar and I did a little bit of vocals in a youth band.
Yes,
and had a few side, moments as well. John is. Tell me about your experience.
All right, so I would say first and foremost, I'm a drummer. I play drums and everything. I play drums all throughout high school and
awesome.
probably middle school and college and stuff. And that's probably the only instrument I'm like good at, and the rest I dabble. So like I play guitar at my church sometimes. Pretty much like I've given over that responsibility to my wife, but I was leading worship every week for a while at the church. I led worship at like every other week at my church in Massachusetts while I was going to school. Yeah, but I've always been a part of worship teams and stuff. I led a couple different teams. Peter and I were in a band in high school. Shout out to the Not White Hash Browns.
Oh,
It's true. Yeah. I mean,
got
yeah.
it.
we should
Picking
talk
up
about the. Well, since you brought it up, we got to talk about how that name came to be.
Yeah,
So-
I didn't realize how weird it sounds. Like
Until I got a little older. Yeah. I
Yeah.
know, same here.
We
So
were just-
John had another band called Not Without Honor.
It's true. It was
It
a
was a
rock band.
Christian
I was in a
band.
rock band.
Christian rock
Or like
band.
metal.
Yeah. And in his basement, he had this giant over his drums, a
Wall.
giant NWH on the wall.
Yes.
And another guy, you were there. I wasn't even there,
Yes.
so why don't you?
No, I think it was actually a text message. Somebody said,
Oh.
"Does that stand for?" And we have a friend, and I won't say it, but the initials are like NH or no NW. Sorry, NW. So he's like, "Is that the guy's name, Haters?" And we were like, "No." He's like, "Oh, it must be the Not White Hash Browns then." And we were like, "What?" Or like, "What does that mean?"
Just
And
out
like,
of
he's
the
like, "You know, when
blue.
you cook hash browns, they get brown." And we're like, So then we came up with that name. So that was,
They're not just the hash browns; they're the not
No.
white hash browns.
yeah, 'cause
And
they're
we
cooked,
literally
right?
called our fine arts band
Dude.
that. So somebody
Yeah.
announced that at Trinity
Yeah.
in Assembly of God.
Yes, and
Now
we were all
presenting the not white
in
hash
the main
browns.
sanctuary.
Yes, and we were I was singing, which was a disgrace to the world.
Oh,
Was
Don't.
everyone white in the band?
No.
No.
That we had
So you were
we
the not
had
white, yep.
two we had two guys that were it was actually Chevrolet, who's usually on this podcast and will be back, and Josh Smith, who was on last week. And they are not of the white race.
Persuasion.
I was gonna say
Just
Yeah,
So,
I
evenly
didn't
balanced
think
hash
it-
brown.
Yeah, I don't think any of us ever like thought about like
We never even
white as
considered
like
that
a
had-
race. Yeah.
Yeah. We're so innocent.
I
But,
was, I was
yeah,
just trying to
so-
figure out the. I was analyzing the names. Like, okay, what's the opposite of white hash browns? Like,
So that's our experience, of course. But Malik
Yes.
is currently a worship pastor.
Yes.
So
Yep.
plenty of experience in that realm. And yeah, so we're going to talk about some of the
Cringiest
weird,
moments.
cringy experiences. Worship leading is amazing. It's a blessing. And but at the same time, you're playing an instrument, you're trying to sing, and those things don't always
Yes.
go well together at the same time.
Mm.
So
I would also like to point out I have a feeling that 2 out of the 3 stories today will mainly just be cringy because of me. That's it.
mine kind of is, but
I know.
So do you want to kick us off, Maz?
Okay. This one actually wasn't really my fault, but it was still very cringy. Well, actually,
It's not my fault.
No, I don't. Okay. Actually, I gotta tell a different one. I'll save that one for later. So there was a time in high school where I was like, you know what? I really want to get out from behind the drum cage. I want to start trying to actually lead worship and stuff. So I somehow convinced my youth pastor to let me have a microphone, and
Yes.
so
In the drum cage.
yes, no,
Yeah.
and so I led. I think it was Alive by Hillsong Young and Free because it
Yes.
was
it's
like
a high
you know,
one.
yeah, yes, yeah, and so I did that, and I think I might have led like This Is Living another time too. But the one night in particular, I just remember like I think it's what is the bridge of Alive?
I don't know,
Can anyone remember?
that's a
I
deep cut
just
for me.
know like the pre-choruses are you are. And
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
My
true.
freedom- No.
you
So I don't.
are.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, there's a part where like basically we do like the typical youth group thing where like everybody get on the floor. So like we did that. Or like
Get
get
on
low,
the
get
floor.
low. Or, like everyone get low, right? And so this is like probably the first time I've ever like had to like I was singing it at our youth group. And there's like a bunch of it was a fairly big youth group and everything, and it's usually done pretty well, and not a lot of weird things happen. But all of a sudden, as I'm doing this, Peter saw this. We had an intern who was wearing these like unusually like he was wearing these unusually high shorts already, right?
Oh,
And then when
God.
he gets low, instead of just wait. And so he has his knees pointing like east to west. and he gets so low. He's like squatting on the ground with his knees like pointed east to west. It was the weirdest position I've ever.
Squat.
It was like so weird, and he just has like this look on his face, like he's just like ready for like I don't know what, but like he was just very serious.
He's like staring us.
He's like staring us down, and I look over and I look at Peter, and Peter has a mic too. We just start dying laughing, like to the point where we're not even singing anymore, and we're just like losing it. Everyone's like trying to like hold it together and like keep going. And I see like my youth pastor is like, because nobody can see it, he's right in the front. So like we're dying, like just completely just lost the moment. Everything, it just ruined like the worship song, and like. And we're just I don't think we ever like maybe we eventually got back on track, but I don't know if we did. And
Didn't
it was
recover?
Just terrible. We didn't recover well.
I just remember there was some unhappy youth leaders after that.
Yeah, they were like, what happened? I was like, it was Jordan. It was Jordan.
They're laughing. We're worshiping the Lord.
That's funny.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I don't know what I would have done in that situation. If I saw what you just described.
You would have been the guy in the deep squat in the story.
You gotta get your stretches in.
It's true. I mean, it's important.
Yes.
Do you have one, Malik, or should I go next?
I do have one that like comes from like my performance, kind of like what you guys were just talking about. But most of mine recently have been like from the leadership standpoint, where it's like off the platform, like managing people. If you're watching this and you're an aspiring worship pastor, just know that you're going to manage some dramatic people. And if you are on my worship team, I love you, and I don't think we are the most dramatic, but we can all be divas sometimes. So I'll just leave that one out there, and we all know this. We talk about this at our practice. But
start naming names.
Couple
exactly
years
ago,
Mildred. Just we don't have a Mildred. A couple years ago, when I fresh out of college, and I'm not a confrontational person. I'm very easygoing, I'd like to think. This lady on the team, I didn't know until after the fact, but she took a phone call during the worship set because her horse was having a baby.
Because her horse.
Yes, that tells you a little bit about where we live.
You're in Virginia, all right.
Her horse was having a baby, so she had to stop mid-song, take the phone call.
Wow. That is fantastic.
And I'm leading, I'm facilitating the room, so I don't quite know, but my lead pastor asked me why so-and-so left the platform, so I have to go and address this issue. And my knees are shaking. I don't want to tell this lady
I'm there with you.
That's like
Confrontation.
very old.
Yes.
But that was the most cringy thing that's happened recently. I can go to like during COVID, when we were 3 services, there was one time in Glorious Day, which I've been trying to get that song out of our bank for the longest time. But we were leading Glorious Day, and like there was like this little drum break towards the end, like heading to the outro, and the service was 12:30 p.m. and at the end of the worship set, I said, "Come on, 3 o'clock." And I don't really know. I don't know where that came from. I don't know if I was
checking the time.
It seems like it sounded like I was like rushing. It's like I'm ready for 3 o'clock so I can go home. Like I have tried to address the congregation. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if I was trying to say the 12:30 service or what. But I just said, "Come on, 3 o'clock," and my team won't let me live that down to this day.
I love it.
That is fantastic.
It's amazing.
Yep.
I have a couple.
Yeah, I got another one too.
Can I? I feel like a jerk, but this was so funny to me when this
Dude,
happened.
take
Like if I could share a little one about from my experience with you.
Go for it.
We were doing this song, "I Thank God," which is phenomenal.
Oh,
fantastic!
And this is just on the live stream, just in the second service. This happened. But there's that part in the chorus that says, "Burden and bitterness, you can just keep it moving. You ain't welcome here." And you know how like sometimes in between phrases you can like you throw something out there like "Come on, church" or whatever. So Malik says, "Burden and bitterness, you can just keep it moving," and he says, "Are you awake out there, church? 'Cause you ain't welcome here." Finish the line.
Christian lyrics. Christian
That
lyrics.
is fantastic.
That'll
It was the
ruin a
best.
theology, and that'll ruin a relationship with Christ.
It's the best. It's the best.
You're not
Um,
welcome here.
I blame
uh,
Dante Bowe for that.
Yeah, come on, Dante. It was amazing. I love you, Malik. I'm thankful you're my worship pastor. Follow that up. You got another one, John?
Yes. Well, I do have one about somebody that I heard. It's a friend of ours. I won't. Actually, maybe I will say who it is. They were on last week. You can fill in the blank. And they
Process of elimination.
I don't know if I'm gonna say what they actually said, but they meant to say like lift up your song or shouts of praise or something like that. But they put a TH instead of an S on the word song, and they said lift up your.
Oh no!
And yeah, and I heard about that, and I was like, "Whoa!" And I've been dying to go back and listen to the live stream. But for me, it was one time where I was playing drums, and it was right when our new worship pastor, this was like 7 years ago, came to the church. It was the first time he was at youth group, and so like the team was like a little bit like, oh, we got to kind of impress Pastor Daniel a little bit, and so we're doing like one of our favorite songs. They actually might have been live or something like that, because that's like I feel like all we did, and
We just did a live. So true.
And so I'm in the drum cage, and it's like a literal, like it has like foam on the back, and it it comes up over the top, like I'm completely enclosed, and I'm drumming, and just all of a sudden I'm just like going nuts, like just absolutely going to town, and I like hit the crashes. And all of a sudden, after I hit the crash, something hits me. And I was like, the whole drum cage collapsed on my head. Like, there was like wooden beams, just like thick foam, like just a ton of stuff. But just hit me. And I'm like, oh gosh. And I keep going, though. We finished this song, I will say that. So maybe that's not
a
cringy.
worshiper right there. That's a worshiper.
But it hurt so bad. I was so surprised.
You hit the crash hit back.
Yeah. I was like, wow, I'll never hit a crash that hard again.
I remember that. That was we were all so proud of you, though. I remember that. They were like, oh, he kept going.
Great job, John.
Insane.
Like, you can't even see him anymore. He's like,
yeah, literally like half the. I don't even know how I kept going, because half the drums were covered by stuff. So like my ride cymbal was
going.
just out. Yeah.
It was so
You're just under a pile of rubble.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's funny.
I love that.
Yeah.
Any other ones?
I just love. Oh, you go ahead. You had something.
I mean, I can't. The delivery of how I'm going to describe it isn't all that great. But when I was a teenager, like getting into worship leading, this was like right before, like my last couple years of high school. Like Hillsong Young and Free started to do the EDM thing.
Oh yeah.
But before that, there were
times.
Before that, there weren't any tracks or anything, so it was just a bunch of us with no click all over the place when it comes to tempo.
Oh yeah.
And like none of us really had like music theory background, so we were just randomly guessing keys and stuff. And it was like there was no like adult like supervision. We were just a student-led worship team. And I don't know if you know, but there was a song called "Rooftops" by Kim Walker.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was the hardest song,
dude.
And I tried to do it in the same key as Kim Walker.
Oh my gosh. God bless you.
Like, on top of like this is 16-year-old Malik, like in the middle of like vocal puberty, just cracking all over the place. And I just couldn't get to like that bridge, like the "Here I am, I stand," like that thing. It was
"Here I
am." It was the worst. I took piano lessons literally the week after that happened. So I'm gonna learn.
I need to save this.
So I'm gonna figure out what key I can sing this in. Like,
yes, that's so funny. The thing for me, I got so happy when I found the Instagram account Worship Fails.
Oh yes.
That brought me so much joy. Like that first night that I found it, I literally just scrolled through every single video they had and was dying.
Yeah, we're not alone.
Yes, I know. It's a thing. It's a hard thing, especially now that live streaming is everywhere.
Yeah.
These things and moments are recorded for everybody to see.
I'm going to get in trouble for this, but I have 2 stories about my wife on live stream that should be on Worship Fails. So, because
our church should be on there sometime, so she's not on.
Yeah. Well, hers are just funny because she like nobody watch like we're at a very small church. Barely any people watch online as it is, right? So it's just like it's not that big. Like it's not super like we gotta like. I try to keep it very like all right. As soon as the countdown ends, we'll transition. Try to keep it smooth and everything. But sometimes things happen and it's not that big of a deal. One day she was standing right in front of the camera, and I was like, Amaris, it is like I don't think you realize this is live. Like your face is literally like up in the camera, right? So she just starts like flicking her hair and just like being funny, right? And like people are watching like and they know what's happening, so they're kind of laughing. So she trips and literally like it was just the funniest thing because like she almost falls on the ground, knocks into the piano, and then just like looks back at the camera like horrified. It was so funny. And then another time she tripped or something like that. But she does this thing in worship. Which do either of you? I know Peter doesn't. But Malik, are you familiar with WWE at all?
This is a whole nother podcast. I know everything WWE.
Oh, praise God. Okay, well, do you know Ric Flair?
Woo!
Woo! Yeah, okay. So thank you. So when she gets really into worship, she backs off the mic and she goes, woo! And every time, all I think about is Ric Flair. So I started sending around videos of Ric Flair doing that to all of our students. Yeah, all of our students. And now every time she does it, all of our students look at me and I'm like,
that's funny.
It's fantastic.
Like
that's so funny.
If you're ever in the area, come watch WrestleMania with me.
Yes, dude.
That's unfortunate.
I'm in a basically a fantasy WWE fantasy league, and it is fantastic.
That sounds like
Peter
a
was in
commitment.
Oh yeah,
That's
it's
true.
fun. But...
I was in it for a little bit, and then I realized that was not in the right place for me personally because I know nothing about wrestling and I don't follow it.
Hey, you run that back, Peter. But I'll make sure you win.
There you go. I just had John pick everything for me.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. We were the tag team champs for a while.
It's just,
the
the answer is always Roman Reigns.
It's true.
I'm laughing like I know why that's funny. I have one more story. We were at this is one of those like side moments or little band experiences that we had where I was in a band with John, his wife, our other friend Chevrolet, and my brother. And I don't think I left anybody out, right? Yeah.
No, that was all of us.
So
it
was great. This was like during college over the summer. We went to a youth retreat at another youth group. It was like a good 3-4 hours away, I think. And so we traveled for it. I don't know why they hired us because we weren't like a band to begin with. It was just like
dude. What happened was I was texting the youth pastor and I was like, dude, you should let us do the worship. And I was like, I'll put. And I was with you at the Bible Museum, Peter. And I was like, hey, Peter, we might have a gig next month. And you're like, what? Like we're not a band.
The Bible Museum.
What is this we? But anyways, we're at this retreat, which was a really cool experience. But
it was amazing.
The kids were not, I guess, ultra responsive. Like I remember John at the beginning going like, "All right, everybody, come up to the front. Do you guys know Wake?" Dead silence, and we're like, "All right, we're gonna do it." It was great, but that's not even the moment though. So the moment is when we go into the song "Drawing Closer." Have you heard that song, Malik?
Mm-hmm.
That is a great underrated song. Yeah, I'm drawing closer.
I think this is living.
This was it. This is living.
This is living. This is living because every time I've done this is living, something goes terribly wrong.
Okay, so it scarred you enough to know.
Yes.
Okay, so
I'll never forget it.
We get right into "This Is Living," which is how does that guitar line? Yeah. So we start the song, and John is playing acoustic guitar. I'm over there on bass. Chevrolet's on keys. John starts playing his guitar for the song and the chord structure. We start playing along, and I'm like, my bass, I'm like, am I playing the right thing? Like, something is wrong here. And, like, the more I play, the worse it sounds. With John's guitar. And then I realized,
everything was off.
Everything was off, and you're just kind of like a panic moment. Like, what do you do? Like, this sounds, like, terrible. I just stopped playing because something's wrong, and I think it might be me. And then I realize... What happened, John?
I left my capo on from the first song.
Yeah.
And
classic.
Classic.
So we were all in the wrong keys. Chevrolet stops playing too. He just kind of like stands there for the duration of the song.
So there was 2 different keys going on or 3?
Oh, no, there were 2 different keys.
Just 2, but
but I didn't realize it all, so I just kept going. I just
kept
going in.
Yeah,
I was like, what happened? Like
he was getting it, man. and then I'm like right up there in front, like right on the edge of the stage. So if I just like stop playing, it's gonna look awkward. So I kind of like pretend to play, like just hold my string down and like pluck it and no sound coming out, the entire song.
Dude,
and
you were jumping, pretending to play
jumping.
everything. And I remember kids were like pointing at you, and they were like, do you remember this? Because I think they were like, we were wondering the whole time, were you playing?
Yeah,
were you playing?
Yeah.
They were like, they noticed. They all noticed.
I didn't sell it enough. But I remember the youth pastor came to us at the end, and you like went right up to him, and you were like, I forgot to change the capo, and he was like, oh, is that what happened?
Like, yeah, and we didn't get asked back.
Nope. That's quite all right with me. It was a good time though.
You live and you learn. I've been not invited back before too. So yep.
And I think that was more or less the last time that I've played, to be honest.
It scarred you for life. I ruined the music for you. That night we both led Reckless Love and we weren't supposed to, and it was absolutely not our key. It was terrible.
Why weren't you supposed to?
Peter, it was we made it work, I guess. It was like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. because it was like an all-nighter, and my wife was like, guys, I'm supposed to sing, but I'm going to bed. And she literally just went in the back room because it was a bed and just knocked out. So me and Peter were left to defend ourselves.
That was a great time.
Good old Reckless Love.
That's good. Well,
yeah, chord-wise, it's not a tough song, but it's big range.
Yes, very big range. So it was like half the song sounded okay. The other half, it sounded like we were killing a bunch of animals or something. It just,
Are you guys ready to do some thank yous?
Absolutely. I would like to thank Colby Jack Cheese for being a cow's beauty, as Malik put it.
The best cheese in the world.
I would like to thank that youth conference for tolerating not one, but two, maybe more songs that we struggled through.
I don't know who to thank, but my student loans are pushed back until August, and I am very thankful for that.
Come on.
I would like to thank This Is Living for teaching me humility multiple times, and probably many other youth students out there.
I would like to thank the Bridge Community Church for loaning out their worship pastor and their media director for this podcast.
Good hour of loan. I'd like to thank Ric Flair for giving worship leaders all around the world an ad-lib in between praise songs.
I would like to thank Malik for dropping a fire EP, and I'd like to thank you, the listeners, and we'll see you next week. Check out this song from Malik's new EP.
I'm cruising down the interstate. Someone cuts me off as they intended to say. My car wasn't going their pace. They really, really tried to really steal my day. I brush it off and then I say, not today, not today, not today. Your joy is my strength. Your joy is the strength of my life. The world didn't give it. The world can't take it away. Your joy is my strength. Your joy is the strength of my life. The world didn't give it. The world can't take it away. There's a credit card I gotta pay. 17 on interest like a financial slave. I'm on the baby steps by my boy Dave. This budget's really hating this decision I made. I brush it off and then I say, not today, not today, not today. Your joy is my strength. Your joy is the strength of my life. The world didn't give it. The world can't take it away. Your joy is my strength. Your joy is the strength of my life. The world didn't give it. The world can't take it away. I stopped in Walmart just the other day. My patience really tested, it was such a delay. The line was backed up to the TV display. Had a meeting at the office, yeah, I might have been late. I brush it off and then I say, not today, not today, not today. Your joy is my strength. Your joy is the strength of my life. The world didn't give it. The world can't take it away. Your joy is my strength. Your joy is the strength of my life. The world didn't give it. The world can't take it away.
Woo! Awesome.
Sweet.
This is great.